Estudio.
Bienvenidos de vuelta, estamos en Escativismo, su lugar donde hablamos del skate, activismo y otras cosas. Estamos aquí con una gran invitada, Lisa Peters, y va a ser nuestro primer podcast en inglés, entonces vamos a ver cómo va esto. So, welcome back. We're here in another episode of Escativismo with such a great guest. I think it's the fastest woman alive and, you know, a great inspiration for a lot of people out there. So we're really glad to have you here, Lisa Peters.
Thank you, Ed. Thank you. What a nice words. I start smiling immediately. Yeah, thank you for having me in this podcast.
No.
I'm really excited, and I'm really curious what you're all going to ask, and I'm looking forward for the talk.
You know, it's like I've been following your career for a bit, and like I always get amazed, like on, of course, like how fast you are, but also like you know, like how much of an inspiration you are to a lot of people out there. So like I think the first question that I want to ask to you is like, how did you start it, like doing downhill skateboarding, like your first approach to the skateboards, or and eventually how did you end up like doing races?
Yeah, it's a good question because I mean, the Netherlands is the flattest country almost in the world, so we don't have a lot of mountains. We have some small bridges and we have the dunes. But I started because I saw videos on internet of Liam Morgan and James Kelly going down,
Right,
and
yeah,
I
yeah,
was
we
like,
all started
wow,
there. Yeah.
yeah, everybody has this like greener pastures, longboard girls crew. It's like these at that moment key idols, and they were on the internet doing crazy stuff. And when I saw those videos, I really wanted to do that, and I had a little penny board, like a
Wow,
small one, and I used it as a thing to go to school, like it was my
that's
transportation.
awesome. How
And
old you
then
were back then?
it's around 10 years ago, so I was 17, 16, 17.
Awesome, such a nice age to start into this world, right?
Yeah.
Like you,
Well, I can remember at the beginning I was always so scared to cross the square of the school because I knew everybody was watching, because it was like, I
yeah,
wasn't so comfortable on the skateboard yet, but you don't want to walk with your skateboard if you can skate. So I was crossing the school area on my skateboard, and slowly I got more comfortable on the board, and I was like, okay, this is really a thing I like, and I wasn't feeling uncomfortable anymore. Yeah, and then I went to a small event organized in the Netherlands. Compared, like we have no mountains, but we have a lot of downhill skateboarders.
oh, that's really cool.
We have a great scene, and on a small hill, local hill, everybody just goes there, practice sliding, and because it's not so dangerous there because it's super mellow.
Yep.
It's really easy to step in. Like, I mean, I can imagine if you're living in Austria or somewhere high in the mountains, every mountain is immediately like, oh my God,
Yeah.
I have to go down here.
Right.
And this
Yeah.
was like, it was perfect to start.
That's amazing.
So yeah,
So what
and I
kind of
think I
event?
did that for 2 years playing around
Oh,
there.
perfect. And what kind of event it was? It was like a free ride or it was a race? What kind of event?
It was called a longboard day, and it was organized by a longboard shop in the Netherlands. And it was not specifically for downhill. It was all the disciplines in longboarding. So it was like a push race, like that long distance push race. There was a dance competition, and there was a little slide jam. And you could just rent or borrow some equipment, and yeah, it was perfect.
That's really cool.
It was a really easy to step in, beginner friendly event, and yeah, I'm really happy that I went there without knowing anybody, and just
Right.
like, okay, let's see if I can be like the other guys in the videos and going that fast.
That's really
Yeah.
cool. So like, and then like what happened? Like you started like just you bought your own board and then started skating, or what was that process?
Yeah, first I did some dancing and some freestyle, and because yeah, that was much easier to do on a daily base.
Yep.
And then I went a few times to Belgium, and I met the crew over there. And Belgium is like, it's for us like 4 or 5 hours driving. or by train at that moment because I didn't have a driver license in a car. So I went there, and yeah, they have a little bit more like they have more hills. So there
Yeah.
I could really practice open road skating, and with the walkie-talkies and a yellow vest, we
Yeah.
went down, and I was getting used to the speed. And actually, from that moment, it went super fast. I was like, okay, I can skate Belgium. Let's go to some events, some European events, and I did immediately the whole tour. I was addicted to it after
Whoa.
this experience in Belgium from like a real hill.
Yeah.
I just never quit.
So
Yeah.
that's really cool. Like you started like taking all these measures, like safety measures, like working with the radio, like walkie-talkies, like to be safe during the run, and do like wearing the vest, all that stuff. I
Yeah.
think it's really valuable because not many people like started that way. So I think it's really valuable that you started that way. And how was that? Like, did you find like more people that were already into downhill, and then like go with them and they show you like how it's done?
Yeah. Yeah, like when I was in Belgium, I knew I was going to a group of people who they already organized an event. They already skated some of the bigger European events. So I was like, okay, I'm going to visit people who are already in the sport, in the niche.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that was a perfect way to learn it. And they explained me everything. And I mean, you feel super comfortable if you're the only one as a beginner because everybody is willing to help you. And
Hmm.
I mean, I'm super thankful for that because I mean, I know it doesn't always happen. Sometimes people go in the scene and they maybe don't feel
Yeah.
that like immediately everybody helps them. And for me, it was like it was the best.
Yeah, that's
And
amazing.
yeah,
And
and
how?
after that, all the events. That's like a really safe way
Mhm.
how to learn how to skate. And there's like one event in Slovenia. It's 6 days of skating the same roads,
Wow.
so you
Is
could
that the
really
K and K?
practice. Yeah, that's K&K.
No, that's
Yeah.
amazing. I always wanted to go.
So yeah, it's still fun. It's funny. Like even if I skate now for almost 10 years already, I
Mhm.
still really like it to go to that road
Yeah.
because it's you can always practice some new stuff.
Right.
And
That's
and
amazing.
otherwise you can just do pack runs with 20 other people.
Right. That's amazing. So how your
Yeah.
parents reacted to this? Like what they were used to like being, like into extreme sports, or they just like were like
Um,
we don't want you to do this, and that kind of, I don't know. I guess like here in Mexico where probably parents are a little bit more conservative with girls, that they kind of don't want them to like practice extreme sports. So how is it there in the Netherlands, and how was it for you?
yeah, I think in the Netherlands in general we are really open-minded. So my parents weren't like conservative about the fact that I did an extreme sport as a girl, but like my parents were worried, like mainly my mom, when I came home all the time with road rash.
Yeah.
And she was like, Lisa, what are you doing to yourself? And I was like, yeah, it just crashed, but
Yeah.
I can clean it, it will grow back. And that was the only thing. Like she was at the beginning, like she wasn't sure about my skills because I mean, if you're a beginner, she wasn't sure if I always went down safely. And now when she knows I I I have the ability to stop and everything, she is way more at peace about the fact that I do this sport. But yeah, for sure in the beginning, um, they weren't a really big fan of it, also because it was something they didn't know. And yeah, I mean, my parents are by themselves really sportive people. They do ice skating, skiing,
Oh, that's
and
amazing.
they do hike and climb a lot. So
Hmm.
I mean, they are not scared for me if I do something dangerous.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, if you see it with your own eyes, that I always was full of road rash. That was the only moment.
Yeah, it's
But
always
yeah.
like that, right? Because like I don't know, like downhill skateboarding is kind of a new sport, so when you see it, it just looks so gnarly, and all of a sudden you like go back home with a lot of road rashes. So like accidents that happen. So yeah, it I bet it must be like a huge shock for parents and like in
Yeah.
school and your friends, you know, that are not into extreme sport. Your
Sorry.
friend, how did your friends reacted to that? You know, like seeing you like all over and like skating really fast and doing like this, I don't know, crazy stuff for their eyes.
Yeah, well, actually, when I started skating, I also moved from my hometown to another place, and so all my new friends, they knew I did the sport already, and my old friends, I don't speak them to them anymore.
Yeah, it's
So
always like that, right? Like just like
yeah,
skateboards absorb your life and all of a sudden you are, I don't know, a new person with a new life and
yeah,
new
like
friends.
a lot of my friends are friends I know from skating, and I do have like a few friends who I met before skating,
Yep.
which are still my friends, and but they love it. They think it's pretty cool, so that's nice. Actually, they tried. I have to
Already?
tell you, they yeah, they both tried actually on our local hill. They went down, and yeah, it was pretty cool to see.
That's
So
really cool. And did
yeah,
you also like studied like physical education, right? Or sports?
yeah, yeah,
Uh,
exactly.
so
Yeah, I did that in University of Amsterdam for 4 years. Well, I did 5 years because I was starting skating, so
right.
I took a little bit longer. But yeah.
It's always like that too. Like it's hard
Yes.
to like, you know, balance the like the academy or like the university life with the skateboarding. But like, do
Yeah.
you think like maybe skateboarding influenced you to be in that line of work or to study that on college?
No, I yeah, I
You chose it
decided to
before.
do this university, yeah, before I started skating.
Oh, okay, okay,
Um, and just because I really liked sports, and I at that moment I was working at like I was giving how you say that in English? I was doing groups where you go climbing and go in the mud and
oh,
everything, and it was always like this kids group. So I noticed I like to teach. I like it to do cool stuff with kids and help them pushing the limits a little bit or get
yeah,
over their fear. So I was like, okay, maybe teaching is something I would like to do. So, and I also sports. I just like how sport works in some way.
that's really cool.
So so I decided to do that. But now actually I don't teach anymore. I was teaching for 1 year after graduating, but maybe I will do it in the future again. But now I it's too fixed for me. It's too much structure. You can't
Yeah,
travel. You only have the holidays, the school holidays. So yeah, maybe I will do that later again. I don't know
right,
what the
yeah,
future will bring me, but
exactly.
yeah,
It's always an adventure. In that sense that you
yes.
said
But I
like,
did some teaching to the kids actually.
yeah,
It was
exactly.
really fun.
Yeah,
Sorry.
about that. So how do you think you manage like fear, or like how do you maybe teach people to not be afraid to start something new or trying this kind of dangerous sport where you can have a margin of, you know, being safe also? And how do you manage to overcome fear?
Mm, ooh, how should I start? I think like for teaching, there were always like kind of two different fears. Like the fear of like I'm afraid for the actual sport, you
Yep.
know, like I'm afraid to jump this high, or I'm afraid to stand up the skateboard,
Yep.
or I'm afraid to do anything out of my comfort zone, you
Hmm.
know? Uh, and that's a harder fear because
Yep.
that fear is not based on the activity itself. It's something way deeper in the head where you really have to comfort someone down, and or how you say comfort, yeah,
Yeah,
calm
yeah.
someone down. um and tell them it's okay to make a mistake, and the kids who have fear just to do a specific activity, you just build it up really slow. Like
Yeah.
you start with something you know they can do already, which gives them a successful feeling, and then you step up the game all the time, and at some point they do it without actually realizing. So
Exactly.
I mean, if someone wants to learn how to skateboard but has the fear for actual skateboard, you can you can stand on the skateboard in the grass, for example, and then you slowly give a hand or anything. But if someone just doesn't want to do anything out of their comfort zone and something like I've never tried it, so I'm never gonna do it, that mentality, that's obviously way harder to teach if
Yeah.
someone still wants to do that, but I already know from the beginning I'm not gonna do that. So yeah, that's that's a different game.
Yeah. And
That's a
what
more psychological game, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And what about like for competitions? Like, how do you think you manage like fear or maybe pressure or like self doubt when you're about to go into a competition or maybe skating a
Yeah.
new open road or, you know, how do
I
you
mean,
overcome that?
mm, I can remember that I had a fear for a road in Switzerland one time, and everything in my body says like I don't want to skate this road. You know, like
Yep.
it's I wasn't that skilled for this gnarly roads,
Hmm.
and the pavement was not always good. It was quite narrow, and it was traffic. So
Yep.
I was like, I felt the fear so strong that I was like, I'm never gonna skate down these roads. And I think if that fear is there, you should just listen to it and not go. Like you have this, we call it belly feeling of like
Hmm.
it's not the right
Yeah, intuition.
time to go. Um, yeah, but for racing or for some roads, you can also have like fear in a sense of like a bit nervous, but knowing you got this, you know.
Yep.
And usually if I feel that, I just don't tuck and I go like
Yeah, yeah.
I go big and I go super slow. I go super easy just to get comfortable because I know you have another run, you know,
Yeah.
and um, so yeah. Then I build it up, same as what you do with the kids. You start slow and you
Yeah.
step up the game every run.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the fear of like nerves for a race, that's different because you only have one run
Yeah.
to make sure you're fast enough.
Yeah.
But you already skated that road so many times that the road is not like really freaking me out. It's just like, you know, what if, or what if I crash, or
Yeah.
also kind of a pressure. I really noticed that in Argentina and the World Skate Games,
Yeah.
I put so much pressure on myself because I'm qualified second. All my family is watching, all my friends are watching.
No,
I
the whole
wanna be
world is
second.
watching.
Yeah, and I put that pressure so much on myself of like, you know, I can't be anything else anymore than second place because I got this, you know, and then it didn't happen, and yeah, I was really angry on myself. And after that, I really learned something of like I didn't enjoy that race because of the pressure, and I was
Right.
like,
Yeah.
wait a second. Usually, I enjoy racing way more
Yeah.
because you don't know the end result. And now I
Hmm.
was hoping so much for the results
Yeah.
I expected that. Yeah, I really yeah, it was too much pressure, and that's something I still yeah have to learn. I think.
Yeah, it's definitely something like the hard part about like going to races, right? Like you have like such high hopes of like what's going to be the outcome, but then like I don't know, something happens or whatever, and then that happened to me a lot, you know, like I don't know, like someone like took me down in one of the runs and like before finals or whatever, and I'm generally just like trying to eat my pride and not be like you fucking took me down,
Yeah.
you know. But yeah, no, like just not having what you want, it's brutal. It's definitely brutal for
Yeah.
if you are like with the whole mindset of winning something, right? So yeah, so how do you think like you like manage like to calm yourself down, like maybe before and after that in Argentina,
For a
for example?
race,
Yep.
yeah, I'm I don't talk so much the hours or
Right.
the half an
Yeah, you're
hours
just trying
before
to
the
get
race.
in the game, right?
Yeah, you should be like maybe my best friend, but someone who I don't know so well. If that person is going to talk to me or give me like like feedback of like, oh, maybe you can do this, I get crazy. I'm like, leave me
Yeah,
alone.
yeah.
I don't play with my brain.
Oh
I
my
have
God.
my
Yeah.
lines already in my head. I
Yeah.
know what I'm gonna do, and if you're gonna tell me something, even though the intention is good,
Right.
it's distorting the system in my brain.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's it's. I can't really meditate. I
Hmm.
tried it a few times, but I think usually I just walk away a little bit from
Yeah.
the start line, because the start line makes me more nervous.
Yeah.
So if I just walk away a little bit and feel how my body feels and just enjoy the moment,
Yeah.
uh, and then usually when I'm like, at some point I'm like, okay, I think I'm soon,
Hmm.
and then I just immediately put everything on, like as fast as possible, not like slowly checking all the zippers,
Yeah.
and because there's always something, oh, my glove is not
Yeah.
fitting
Yeah.
well, let's redo it, and
Uh-huh.
then this process is making you even more nervous. So I just walk away and then gear up, and then I immediately want to drop in.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
taking a few steps back, like how did you end up racing? Like at the very beginning, like you were doing all these events around Europe, and then like
Yeah.
when did you start, like, like I can do this and I can be like competitive, and or were you always competitive before skateboarding?
Yeah. Um, let's think. Like I started in 2014.
Mm-hmm.
So 2014 and 15 was like playing around.
Yep.
And then in 2015 also I went to K&K.
Mm-hmm.
And then the year after I registered for all the events in Europe.
Nice.
So it was Kozakov and Lillehammer and Almatrip. It was 3 races.
Yep.
I was like, let's do it, and yeah, I bought a suit and I just went for it. And actually, I got 3rd place on Alma trip.
Awesome.
So I was like, wait a second, I'm on the podium. That's
Yeah.
weird,
And was that your first
um,
race?
no, it was my 2nd race.
Awesome. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah. Norway was my first race, and I was last.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember why, because I took a corner, I think, really bad. So I had
Mm-hmm.
so less speed out of the corner
Yep.
that I thought, oh, I can push extra, like let's do a few pushes.
Mm-hmm.
But since I had my visor down, I wasn't really aware of the speed, I think, because I was still going around 40, 45, which
Yep.
is way too fast to start pushing.
Yeah.
So in the race, during the push, I just crashed.
That actually happens
Yeah,
a
and then I
lot.
became less. Yeah, because you're not aware of the speed. If you go from, I don't know how fast that road was, maybe 65, 70. If you go from 70
Yep.
to 35, it feels super slow, but it's still like quite fast to put your feet on the ground. And maybe with the visor, you're living in your little bubble, and
Exactly.
you're not really aware of it.
Exactly, of the
Yeah.
speed, right?
So I was lost in the first race, and then third on the second race. So then I was like, okay, this is what I'm going to do every summer, and I know the year
Nice.
after 2017 I got super competitive, because 2017 I got super competitive already. I was like, I want to be the fastest, and yeah.
Awesome, man. And like how, like the whole process of becoming, like one of the top riders around, like how did that make you feel? Like how does that make you feel right now? Like what, where would you want to take this? Like, I don't know, like maybe
Yeah,
winning open to, or like,
I don't know yet. Yeah, I don't know what to. I didn't realize. I don't really realize that, because I'm always skating with people who usually are better. Like I skate a lot with the guys, so I don't really feel like, oh, I'm a top rider, because I just try to keep up. But that also makes me a better skater, I think.
yeah, definitely.
And of course, the moments during racing, you realize more that you're actually doing pretty well.
Yeah.
So yeah, that feels good. Of course, it's I'm it makes I'm proud on it that I made it until here already in in this time. So I hope I can go even faster, and maybe this year we will see.
You will. Like I remember when I skated with you on when we were at the what was the name of Hidalgo? It was the state, but I don't remember the name of the spot. And like I saw you.
The Dodo, was it, no?
Oh, I think so. Or maybe one before that
I'm
one.
really bad in the names.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Okay. In Mexico.
In Mexico. So yeah, I remember like you were just coming from Argentina in this whole like world tour and like winning third and stuff. And like, I don't know, I was just getting like a feeling that you were like that feeling you get after a race, right? Like you feel like boom, like powerful and fast and all that stuff. And I was like so like unused to like going downhilling. I've stopped doing like races a long time ago, maybe 2015. But anyway, I eventually do it. So I saw you and I saw you like super firm and super fast and super confident. And I was like thinking that, like that feeling you get after a race and when you are encounter a new road and you are like super confident and like aware of yourself and all that stuff. And I think that's super refreshing, like to see that. And I remember I couldn't like reach you, like keep up, like you were in front of me and I barely keep up with you in one of the runs. And I don't know, I think it was amazing. It was, I don't know, I got so excited like because of that, And
Nice.
so I think like my question here is like after a race, how do you feel? Like, do you have like a different perspective on how to approach to a different road and like you're skateboarding as a daily basis or just for fun or whatever? Like, or do you think that you are always training?
I think mainly after a race for sure you're in your best shape because you're like pushing it to the limits and trying to go the fastest for 3 or actually World Roller Games was almost 5 days straight, pushing it. So yeah, definitely after Mexico, I was really, what you said, like ready to keep up the same pace and that felt good because I really felt like in Mexico, like, okay, I'm in shape, skating goes well. I understand my board, I understand everything. So yeah, definitely you have that like kind of still adrenaline running through your body feeling forever, for just keeps on going. And I notice it now. I was skating last week and I was skating completely different because I didn't skate it for a while, but also I was skating alone and I'm super sensible for not pressure in a negative sense, but just people around me. And some people, they can really hype me up. And in Mexico, I was with so many people who could hype me up that I loved it. I start smiling already. I really loved the Mexico trip because it was such a nice atmosphere with all the skaters, and we were with quite a big group just skating around through whole Mexico, and that was really cool. And that makes me really going out of my comfort zone, skating with other people, and mainly if they're all very good and talented. And I mean, we had a squad with some amazing skaters, so you don't want to leave behind.
And
maybe it's funny because that way of thinking is really, I think it's because I have 2 older sisters. I'm the third of the family, like the youngest. And I have the same behavior my whole life already. Like I want to keep up, and my sisters, they had like friends and they could already, they were doing like skating on the two
Yeah.
separate, you know,
Uh-huh.
and I wanted to do that too, and I also wanted to ride a bicycle, and it's still in there. If I'm with skaters who are faster, I'm like, I don't want to be at the last, and it's,
Yeah.
I don't know, even though it wouldn't matter, it's just some healthy pressure I put on myself.
That's really cool. I
So yeah.
think that's the mm, most healthy kind of pressure you can put in yourself, you know, like the one that is, you know, like kind of uplifting and it kind of challenges you to give your best and like, you know, move out of your comfort zone. I think it's that the
Yeah.
healthiest kind of pressure you can put on yourself. And talking about pressure, like I want to talk about your process and like kind of strategy, like throughout the Argentina experience, because you know it was the world championship.
Yeah.
So how was that for you? Like maybe like getting selected for your country, and then like just experience the whole race and getting to the finals, and you know being in the podium.
Yeah, it was unbelievable because it's it's different than any other race, the World Skate Games, because they're like way more official things. Like um, everyone walks with his key cords, you know, like
Uh-huh.
that's already a thing. And some countries they have a whole team and T-shirts, and you feel like you're really like on a more professional event.
Yeah.
And then the gear check and yeah, those things they make you like kind of not like on a normal skate event, you know, everybody walks a little bit like this and
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
eating
More
beer and
festive kind of mood.
exactly. And there you
Yeah.
still you're like, okay, you know, this is a day where I have to perform, and you
Right.
know, they have apples and bananas and mineral and protein powder, you know, it's
Yeah.
there. So everyone is in this kind of mood to perform the best you could. So
Yeah.
suddenly everybody is stretching and
Hmm.
you know it's beautiful.
Yeah.
So that atmosphere that was really interesting. I felt it on myself that I was actually not always just the funny one or a clown or like I was
Yeah.
actually
Yeah.
more quiet and more serious
Yeah.
about the day. And yeah, I kind of planned not to just do pack runs with people I want to skate with, but
Yeah.
also think of like, hey, what if I'm in a heat with this person? Maybe it's smart if I do a run with this person,
Yeah.
you know. So I was really skating with a lot of different riders to get to know everyone, and sometimes not push out in front but push out in the back so you can see them actually. And
Yeah.
there was less fun sometimes
Hmm.
because I mean you want to go fast, or but it wasn't necessarily
Yeah.
because you
Exactly.
otherwise you don't know who are your competitors.
Hmm.
So yeah, it was completely different way of experiencing a skate event. If we can still, yeah, it's still a skate event.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, because you're actually really focused on
On the outcome.
performing.
Yeah. Yeah.
In the evenings we were still barbecuing and everything, you know. It was
Yeah. Yeah.
still
Yeah.
like, okay, you know, we didn't lost everything, we still have a really nice evening and everything. And during
Hmm.
the day was also nice. I have to now, it doesn't sound like I didn't like it, but uh
Yeah. There's these
I
moments
just
where
I
you
just
can.
felt that pressure.
Yeah.
And that's actually also after the World Skate Games, that's why I went to Mexico and not to Brazil to the event, because I was like, I don't have energy for another race. I
Yeah.
just want to have fun.
Exactly. Yeah. It's
um,
so draining. Also, like when you are like just putting yourself so much in the game and just trying to like I don't know, like calculate everything, you know, like trying to check out your competitors, their lines, your speed, your lines, how it contrasts with the rest, right? So yeah, I
yeah,
definitely feel what you're saying. And like
yeah,
I don't know, you have to I guess it's also really good just to like balance like how much you are performing for you know, a skate event of that level, and also like enjoy yourself. You know, if you're already in America, why not just go into Mexico and like visit a bunch of places, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, I was for sure not planning to leave after Argentina back home. I was like, yeah, I'm here on this side of the sea, so let's stay here anyway. It was just I was just deciding where I'm going after.
Yeah.
But still, I think I have something to learn for the next races, to not put that much pressure on myself, because I know in the beginning when I started racing, I didn't put that pressure because
Yep.
I was like, I don't know, I don't know where I'm going.
Yep.
And there was a lot of fun, and I know I can still have that feeling. I just, yeah, it's maybe a little ego thing also. Of course,
Yeah.
you don't want to, yeah,
Yeah, you want to
want to
win.
be the best.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, I think it's like super important too, right? Like to get your mind in the game that you can win and that you are, like have everything you need to win. Otherwise you won't, you know.
Exactly.
Like if you
Yeah.
don't believe in yourself, like no one will. Or maybe they will,
Yeah.
but it's the most kind of like the most important kind of trust, I guess. Like the one that you put in yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Definitely.
in that same subject, like when you got to the finals, like there was this huge crash, right?
Yes.
Yeah, can you tell me about like like the whole run?
Yeah. So it was the semifinal between me and Rydell. She's from the Philippines, and then Alicia Philbeck from the US,
Yeah.
and Julia from Italy.
Okay.
And I was first place, and I could hear actually Rydell behind me, because in the first corner she even said something, or she was like, yeah, like making a funny sound. So
Yeah.
I was like, oh damn, she's
Uh-huh.
pretty close behind me. But obviously I wasn't looking behind. I was like, okay, before the last corner, foot tuck, and then suddenly she came from the left, and she wanted to go back to her lane, but just too early. So she
Yeah.
swooped me out. Like she touched me, and we touched the wheels, and I
Oh.
fell, and accidentally my hand came under Alicia's board. So Alicia fell through also. So it was like me, Rydell, and Alicia on the ground. Julia just going through without crashing and making it to the next corner. So we were all on the ground, and I was like, just grab your board and go, Lisa. And
Yeah.
I was like, luckily I knew where it was, because I mean, I saw it flying. So I
Yeah.
grab my board. And actually at that moment, Rydell was she was in front of me at that moment, because she was also quite fast with grabbing a board. So it was like this 10 kilometers per hour, like race to the final
Yeah.
to go to the final. So
That was the last corner, right?
yeah, it was the
That
last corner,
is
and
a
then
left and then a
yeah,
straight line, right?
exactly. Yeah, it was we touched, and the crash happened like like right before the left corner. So we had the
Yep.
most speeds, because we just had all the whole straights.
Oh my god.
So
Were you hurt?
yeah, it was.
Like did
Yeah,
you?
my hand hurt, but at that
Oh.
moment I didn't felt it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had like it was just super painful, because Alicia was going over it,
Yep.
and I think her kingpin kind of got stuck on the knuckle,
Oh
or it
no.
touched just the knuckle, so it was like hard material on bone.
Right.
So yeah, when I came down, I was like, first adrenaline, what the hell.
Yeah.
Then I felt my hand, and then the whole circus started, because everybody had a coach. So except for me, because I was the only one from the Netherlands. So that moment it was pretty intimidating, because I mean, obviously every coach wants their rider to go through. So
Yeah.
they were all blaming me that I was causing the crash.
Oh my
And
god.
I don't know, I just couldn't say anything. I was like, and I
Yeah.
couldn't
Yeah.
find the right words. And then
Yeah. Leave me alone.
some coaches were
Yeah.
just talking over me, even
Okay.
though I didn't even start my sentence. And
Right.
it's okay, because they were like, we wanna make sure our riders goes through, so
Yeah.
they do everything they can. And I do understand that, but I also hope that maybe at some point they felt like, hey, wait a second, Lisa is all alone here.
Exactly.
So it's like,
Yeah, a little empathy,
so
right?
luckily one of the judges, he said to me like, Lisa, do you also want to protest to somebody? And I responded like, I don't want to protest against anybody, but I want to defend myself that it wasn't my fault. Just look at the video. I also don't know what happened, but suddenly we all fell, and I didn't see anybody. So how can I cause a
how it
crash
was my
if I'm
my fault?
yeah. So then the judges walked away and they watched the footage, and we were all like sitting there like in like I was getting crazy. So then the judges came back and they were like, yes, it's true, Rydell went a little bit too early back to her lane, so she caused the crash. So the person who finished the second goes through, and that was me, because I had my board luckily the earliest. And it sucked for Alicia, because maybe she could have made it, maybe not, no one knows, but she was in a good position and she went out just because my hand went under there, which was also not my fault. So it was, I can understand, like, you know what you say, like, you feel this moment you want to do good and then something happens out of your power. That's a painful situation.
And especially when they're like blaming you, it's like, come on, like, I was just doing my thing, and out of the sun I'm like, you know, like,
exactly,
like in the ground.
and also I'm like, usually we all have fun, you know, and now racing becomes this professional that we're competitors, and I never felt that way, that we're actually, you know, like trying to fight against each other. And of course it's the sport, and it's also a beauty of sport, but I just never felt that way before. So that was just it was an interesting moment. And then I was at the bottom, but in the meantime the shuttle to the top went up already. So there was a marshal coming to me. He was like, are you in the finals? And I was like, yes. You're disqualified. I was like, what? Why? Because you're not at the start line. I was like, yeah, because everyone was protesting against me. I couldn't catch the shuttle. I had to defend myself.
Of course.
And luckily some other of the girls, they heard it, what was going on. So they were like, and now get the fuck this car and bring this girl up, because she can't handle any more stress. And I was like, oh, thank you, girls. Thank you so much.
That's amazing.
So that moment, it was like one happy family again.
That's amazing.
So yeah. Then at the top, I realized actually my wheel was, because we touched the wheel, there was like a chip out, and I was supposed to do another run, and I didn't have the fresh set, so I borrowed the set of Emily, and it was like other wheels I usually ride, and my mind wasn't there. So yeah, it was for sure not the best focus to start a final. But yeah, I'm still happy that I went there.
Amazing. How do you feel with your third place? Like, were you like bummed, or were you like, fuck yeah,
No, I was super bummed.
Really?
Yeah. I was not happy after it. I was like, yeah, I could have been second. And I don't know why I'm still saying this, because now actually, you know, people forget maybe already about the World Skate Games, you know. But I just knew it was possible. The gap was there, and I just had the stupidest speed wobble in the last left corner. Like my board went everywhere. I had really like the ugliest line I ever did. And Alicia had a great line, so she overtook me like 5 meters or 10 meters before the finish line. So for sure that was super painful, because on the straight, if someone is not there before you enter the last corner, the chance that someone will overtake you is pretty small. So I was kind of already cheering in my head of like, I'm second. Yes, I'm second of the world. And then you have a wobble, which is which is just unnecessarily, I think.
Yeah, I totally feel you. So I wanna like touch a few subjects before like closing. We have like maybe 15 minutes.
Yeah,
But
cool.
so I've seen like this whole rise of like women skateboarding that are like, I think they're taking, like you guys are taking the sport like where it should be. Like training and like taking it seriously and like competition wise. And like you can see it also in street skateboarding, where like the whole movement of women skateboarding are like, like making it seem professional. And like in that sense, like I think the
Oh no! Wait, sorry.
yeah.
Wait, Nitka. I'm
Also,
so sorry.
no worries, no worries. I also want you like to ask you about like this whole like skydiving stuff. But like first, this so I'm trying to get with this question is like I am seeing like a lot of disparity between the money prices like for women and men. And I think that happens a lot in everywhere, like from MMA or like surf or like everywhere. And like
Yeah.
what do you think, what must happen, or like how we should like erase these kind of gaps between the money prices, because it should be like equal, right? You are like risking yourself to the same level, you are putting like a lot of work, and it costs you money also, like to train and to like travel and to all that stuff. So why do you think it happens,
Yeah.
and how do you feel, or what's your stance on this?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I think it needs to be equal exactly for those like reasons because we take the same risk, we have the same travel expenses, all those things are for men and women the same.
Yep.
And of course, men can have this legit argument of, yeah, but we have a bigger field, so we have more competitors, so for us it's harder to reach number one. But
Mhm.
for us, that's out of our reach. Like
Yep.
it's not my decision that there
Mhm.
are just 32 women instead of
Yep.
64. And I mean, that still doesn't make my work or all the girls' work who go there less
Exactly.
valuable.
Yep.
Um, and yeah, so I luckily with skating, it's or with downhill skateboarding, it's equal as far
Mhm.
as I know.
Yep.
I mean, I never double checked, but I guess it's equal, which is good because I mean we all do the same for it. But yeah, with different sports, it's not like that, and
Mhm.
um, yeah, I think I don't know how we can solve that. I mean,
Yep.
I think with bigger sports, maybe it's because people watch it less, so it doesn't give that much money, and
Mhm.
then it's like a way bigger problem because then there's actually a lot of money involved. Because I mean, if it doesn't give the amount of money that you have to spend for it,
Mhm.
it is in some way logic. I mean, if it, yeah, it's this discussion I think which has been a lot uh, done already with soccer that no one watch women's soccer, but everybody follows men's soccer.
Yep.
So it's logic that that generates more money. So it's also logic that they receive more money if you
Yep.
see it as a performance.
But do you
Like if
think?
you have a podium with 200 people watching or like a concert with 2 million people watching, there
Yeah.
is more money relating.
Exactly. I think it's like
So
for in
yeah,
Mexico, like the women division in football, soccer, it's like way more successful than our like
really.
men category. Yeah, and it's crazy because like they are like winning like world championships and stuff, and like our like male division, they barely can keep up with like quarterfinals.
Whoa.
Or yeah, so it's crazy because they are not like as watched as men, they are not as well paid as men. And I think that's like a huge difference, and I've seen like this happening like around the world. And I don't know, like for me it's like, I don't know, we should
Yeah.
keep things equal, because like the more we can foment or like we can promote these categories, or we can help like being more seen, I think we will get like to this point where we can actually make the same amount of money.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, but do you think the women's football team in Mexico gets more because they're also more successful?
they don't get like as much as the male division. They're
They don't get,
Yeah, they
but
don't.
they are. Oh,
They're more
okay.
successful,
Yeah,
but yeah, and the thing is
that's
that
unbelievable.
like not a lot of people like even watches the games, but they're winning like
Yeah,
World Cups and stuff. So I think it's just like
yeah,
ridiculous, like we don't support them as much as the men that are pretty much like like failing every game.
yeah. That's unbelievable. Yeah, but I think like prize money definitely should be always equal.
Yeah,
But I do understand why some athletes get paid more, maybe from sponsors or anything, if they're actually generating more sales or they're actually more relevant for a brand because their success.
yeah,
Or then I mean there is also a fair point, but based on prize money, yeah, that can't be any different because everybody works as hard as possible to reach first, second, or third place.
exactly. So
Yeah.
changing the subject a little bit. So what about these hobbies you have, like skydiving and all that stuff? Like, do you see yourself as an adrenaline junkie, or
Yes.
yeah, straight up?
Yeah. I think actually a few weeks ago someone said, I think you're a speed addict. And I doesn't
Oh,
don't mean the drug obviously, but just the feeling of speed because
yep.
I have a motorbike and I love it to drive on my motorbike. And
Hmm.
so that's something with speed. Well, skating, I always want to go fast, and skydiving, it's also just the feeling of free fall is
That's
unbelievable.
amazing. And
It's
where you at
it's a
right
really
now?
nice
That
feeling.
airport? It's is it like where you go to practice? Like where you are right now?
Exactly. Yeah, I did my license here last year, and I kind of fell in love with the valley
Hmm.
because it looks like Narnia. You know,
Oh,
this
really?
movie. It's like really green. You have waterfalls. You have a river which is like so turquoise, like blue. It's like really really nice, and yeah, and just the mountains and snowy peaks, and you can see Italy.
Yeah.
It's just a really nice place to be, and it has a lot of outdoor sports. You can go on the river, you can go climbing, you can go skating. So yeah, that's why I decided to stay here for a few months
Hmm.
and yeah, jump as much as possible. I mean, now it's bad weather and we have to wait for some better weather, but it's
Hmm.
also good because if it's good weather every day, I want to jump every day, and then
Yeah.
I don't have money for skating.
Yeah.
And
That's
yeah,
amazing.
skating is still priority, but
Uh,
I discovered this a year ago, and yeah, it's a really nice passion to do next to it.
yeah, and the videos look amazing.
Yeah.
I'm always like, it's always like really awesome to jump into your socials, because it's like skydiving and like going on a road trip on my motorbike, and then like a full speed skate run. I think it's just like fascinating, like all these activities
Yeah.
where you are involved.
Yeah, I try to do a lot of things. Like it's not only skating. And at the beginning, I
Yeah.
thought, oh, I should only show that I skate because that's why people follow me.
Yep.
Um, but I figured out a lot of people also like it to see other stuff. A lot of people not. Like sometimes I get responses
Oh,
of like,
really? Like you
oh,
should
I don't
post
follow you
more.
to do, yeah, or
Oh
I
my
don't follow
god.
you to see some coffee shit, you know. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I like coffee, you know. Like it's one of my passions too, to
Yeah.
make a
Yeah.
nice cup of coffee every morning.
It's
So
such
I
an
mean, why
art
not
too.
share it?
Yeah. And
So
yeah, I
yeah,
think so. Another question that I think it's like really like interesting for people to maybe listen your point of view is like what kind of advices would you give to someone that he's a, she's about to like start into downhill skateboarding, or like any other activity that it's involved into extreme sports, and that is like male dominated? What advice would you give them to like stand up, promote gender equality? How would you like encourage them to face this and to go through
Yeah.
this?
The advice, it's for sure depending a little bit on the person. Like some people who go into a sport which is male dominated, they they get frightened because of the amount of men, and they look for the crew of the girls,
Yeah.
and I mean, if you feel that, like if you go into a sport and you're like, wait a second, it's only guys, and you don't match with them, then my advice is find the girls, because they
Yeah.
exist. In every extreme sports there is always a group of female athletes who are passionate, and they are always welcoming, and I think it's not a weird thing to ask if you say, hey, I'm new here and I want to learn this and I would love to learn it in a safer group with just girls.
Yeah.
Can I join one time? And everybody says yes, of course. Like, I mean, that's how we all started.
Yeah.
So yeah, for that reason, that's my advice. If you don't really care about, like, if you skate with men or women, then just, yeah, also skate with the men. I skate a lot with the guys because they push me a little bit more in some way, but that's super personal. Like, I mean, yeah, I don't, I if the fact that I like that doesn't mean everyone likes it, and I mean, it's also maybe because I can skate already, so now I like to skate with the guys. I can't really remember how it was when I started. But I can imagine if you're completely new, it's maybe a more welcoming if it's just a woman or a mix.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
my advice. But
Yeah, that's really
I
good.
think if you're just really open about what's going on, and that you're new in the sport, then you will be welcomed. For sure.
Amazing.
I mean,
And
if you're here, come to Slovenia. I need
yeah.
skaters.
Yeah, definitely. I would love to travel there. Like maybe, I don't know. I will try to Landiache, if you're hearing this, take me to Slovenia and do the whole
Yeah. I
Europe.
mean, I can just take the plane and
That would be amazing. That would
and
be
pick you
amazing.
up.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah.
So what's next for you? Like, what are your plans for the summer? What are you working on? What are you stoked on?
Well, I am now. I'm working a little bit, and I think in June. Actually, we're organizing an event here, and it's all
Oh, sweet.
extreme sports, and I give workshops in downhill skateboarding. So we're gonna practice some slides, and maybe we go to a little bigger hill. So that's going to be super fun start of the season. And after that, I will do the European events, and maybe try to travel to Brazil for the race over there. And it's gonna be, I have to work in the meantime, so I don't know yet how I will manage. And actually, I noticed it that I really like it to organize projects of like filming epic stuff. Basically, like it can be everything, like something cool with a skydiver or with a
Yeah.
car racer, like. And I'm already like sitting on this idea for so long, but never really worked it out because, I mean, yeah, needs to, you need to do something to make it happen. It doesn't come to you.
Yeah.
So I'm brainstorming a lot these weeks because I have a little bit more time to see if I can do something cool, like something which is also for an audience which is not a skater.
Yeah.
Because I mean, the raw runs or the things I post, it's usually appreciated by people
Who skates?
who are either a skater or are already in extreme sports. But yeah, I
That's
would love to
amazing.
do something else. Damn, what's it sound?
We're about to explode here.
Okay.
Well, I really enjoy this. Thank you so much for being here and taking the time to speak with me and speak with a lot of
Yeah.
the people that really want to know you and like see you through social media, and that are like really inspired about what you do and all the things that you're involved. Really congratulations for everything that you do. You are such an inspiration for a lot of people, and hopefully we can do this interview maybe in person one day, this year, next year, whenever. And if you want to say something to the people that are seeing you right now, go ahead.
Nice. Yeah. First of all, thanks Ed for inviting me. I really liked it, this conversation, and also during the conversation sometimes I I think of things which I never thought before, but just because you have like a question, I'm like, oh, actually, good question. I don't know, and then yeah. So I'm also sorting out things
Yeah.
by doing this podcast, and I hope everyone enjoyed listening to it, and yeah, I hope I can keep inspiring people by my addiction of speed.
And you will for sure, for many
Yes.
years. Well,
Yes.
thank you everyone that watched this and are listening to us right now. We really hope you enjoy this. If you want to follow Lisa, what are your socials?
It's A7X Liesje.
Perfect. And your YouTube channel?
If you type in Lisa Peters, you will for sure find it.
Perfect. Well,
Nice.
thank you everyone. I love you.
Thank you, everyone.
See
See you next
you.
time in Mexico.
Hell yeah, let's do it. I'll be prepared. Thank you.
Cool. Yeah, we'll be good. Ciao, ciao.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Lisa. Thank you for the time. Enjoy your evening.
Should I leave or can I say bye like a real bye?
Yeah. You can say a real bye. Yeah. We just like cut the like transmission.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah. Thank you
before
so
I
much
leave,
for
I will
doing
say,
for doing this.
yeah, dude, it was super nice. I loved it.
Yeah, I
It
really
was super
wanted to
good.
talk to you about this. So yeah.
Yeah.
I bet it's gonna be
Yeah,
like a
it was
huge episode.
nice questions you have.